Hi, this is Marya Doery, and I'm here with JB Rainsberger. We're continuing our quest to use an LLM to build JB a scoring recording app for his five-pin bowling practices. And the last time that we worked on it, JB said he was going to test the app in airplane mode or with offline.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. And so I've had a chance to use it. I now use it regularly for all my practice sessions, which are 2 a week.
Very nice.
And so I use it in flight mode on Monday. Absolutely no problems. I just put my phone in airplane mode, had an entire practice session, took it out of airplane mode at the end. Everything seems fine. So there's no Bolt didn't like throw some weird network behavior in the background and not tell us.
Yeah,
As we have seen, Bolt, like all these other LLMs, has a tendency, like a junior programmer, to eagerly do more than you ask it to.
right.
And fortunately, it did not do any network calls behind our back. So it seems to work perfectly in offline mode and even switching it in and out of airplane, in and out of flight mode while I was using it is not a problem.
Okay.
So
Okay, great.
I'm pretty satisfied that that works the way we intended. Let's just hope that that doesn't change between now and when we stop.
Yeah, so of course, obviously just testing it, manually is not necessarily sufficient. Like you might actually want to go and look at the code, make sure there's no networking calls in there, but I think we're
Yeah,
happy enough with that for right now.
yeah. And
And so,
I don't have enough React knowledge yet to be able to look through the code, which is a topic that's going to come up again pretty soon.
okay. And so you noticed a bug. You want to tell us about the bug, and I guess we'll work on that in this session.
Yeah, I don't recall whether we discussed this previously, but and I think it's partly because I think the bug only comes up on the phone and we don't see it in preview. So we have two main screens. There's the sort of current practice screen, and then there's the session history screen. And once I end a session, I expect it to show up at the top of the history. The history is reverse chronological, so newest sessions are at the top. And I'll even just do it right now. I'll start a session. I'll record like a handful of throws, press end, and I see the nice little, success box. But then when I go over to the history, you'll notice that that most recent session is not at the top of the history.
Yeah, so it's hard to
And
tell, I think, in this video, but that's, what you're
yeah.
saying. It will believe you that it's not showing up there in the
And
list.
so, yeah, in case that doesn't show up very well. So uh, we've seen this before. And what we've been able to confirm so far is that if I close the app by, say, swiping up to get rid of it in the recently used apps, and then I relaunch the app and go to the history immediately, then the session actually does show up. So
Okay,
that session was recorded. It's in the model, it's in the app somewhere.
right.
It's just that it's not showing up right away when uh, right after pressing end session and then going to the history tab. So I don't know enough React to be able to feel comfortable just going into the code and looking for what's missing. But
Hmm.
as a programmer who's done a bunch of UI work and knows MVC, I get the sense that there is somewhere in there. There's either in like UI toolkit level redraw thing that's not happening. There's a model event that the model has changed, which is not being sent or not being received, not being acted on, something like that. And since I don't really know how React's model view separation works, I don't know where to look. And
Right.
as I'm sure you'll tell me, the whole point of having the LLM is not to need to know that thing, but just to say, hey, this is dumb, fix it. So I presume what we're going to
Exactly.
try to do now is to tell Bolt, hey, this is dumb, fix it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that makes sense. I mean,
All
I
right.
think it's very interesting to go through this and just constantly return to the LLM and say, you fix it. It's not my problem.
Right.
You fix it.
Exactly. Okay, so let's try to do that then. Let me share that screen. Where are we here? Yeah. Okay. So here we are back here. By the way, just to show that there's nothing up my sleeve, I'm pretty sure that if we do this, Yeah, see, that actually works. So
Hmm.
what's interesting about this, and part of the reason that we maybe hadn't discovered this bug until we started installing the app on the phone, is that this is one of the ways in which the preview and the app on the phone seem to behave differently. We've
Yeah,
already seen this with when we end a practice session here. Whoops. When we end a practice session here, there's supposed to be a dialog box that pops up saying
right.
practice saved successfully, which shows up on the phone but not here. So this is just another way in which, oh, but hey, it just happened.
It just happened. All right. Excellent.
Interesting. Okay, let's
Oh,
let's
that's
double
so.
check, shall we?
Oh,
So
wait, that's not. Oh, you know what? Is that supposed to create a dialog box
the
also?
dialog box
It's the
didn't,
alert
right,
dot.
I can't confirm. So when I
Yeah.
try to delete on the preview, I get a confirm box and I can't press confirm. So that's interesting. If I now reload this entire web page and let the preview come up again,
Yeah.
are we going to see one item in the history or two? Let's see.
Yeah.
I don't know. And so, this is when I talk about unit tests of any kind, one of the things that we usually end up talking about is, well, unit testing is a waste of time because ultimately what matters is running the app from end to end. And while I agree with that, on the other hand, if you run the app in two different environments and they behave differently, unit tests might be the only way that you can determine whether the problem is in your code or their environment. And
Hmm.
here we're experiencing the downside of that sort of only do things end to end approach. If you sit in this preview and build like 12 features before you deploy to the phone, you won't discover that half of them don't work the same way on the phone as they do in the web
In the
preview.
web app. Yeah.
And I mean, like, let's be clear. I'm not saying anything bad about Bolt, about Stack Blitz, any of this stuff. Like what they're doing is hard stuff. I wouldn't want to have to build it. But this is one of the votes in favor of unit testing is so that I can at least understand whether the problem is my logic, their logic, or my understanding of their logic. So, okay, let's take a look at the history now. Whoops, let's go back to 90%. And there are two sessions. So this in the preview now, we've actually seen the same bug. I have no idea what's going on here. I don't know why it works once but not twice. And like we decided a few moments ago, it's not my job to know. It's Bolt's job to know.
So I
So,
have a question though. If we wanted to
sure.
debug this,
Yes.
I don't see any way for us to delete any of these sessions in the web app.
Yet another vote for unit tests. Right, because
Yeah.
otherwise at this point we're like looking through code, we're doing manual inspection of the code and looking for a bug, or I'm using your knowledge of React and my impulse to do unit testing to then figure out, okay, where are the seams, how do we break things apart so that we can run them in isolation, and then figure out whether the problem is we're not telling the UI framework what to do, or we misunderstand how the UI framework works,
Hmm.
or everything is just working and it would work on the phone but not here. And that's part of the reason that I would do that. It's kind of the long way, but the long way works for a reason. Otherwise, we're just guessing.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how good a job Bolt is going to do on this, but I guess we could try. You can
Well,
explain.
then, right, there's that question too, right? Is like, if Bolt even going to be able to understand the problem because I don't know if it's using the same code as the preview does to observe
Yeah,
the behavior.
right.
It would be very interesting to find out that Bolt can't see this problem.
Yeah.
Huh. I hadn't even thought
So
about that, but
my
that makes perfect
so
sense.
yeah, so my bet, I'm gonna bet that it will claim that it understands the problem. So
Well,
let's
the
see, you want to
first
give
thing
it a
it's going to
shot?
tell me is that I'm right. We know
That's
that.
right. Yeah,
Whatever I say, it's
exactly.
going to say, "You're
You're
absolutely
right.
right, boss." Great observation. Okay. So, uh, well, I can think of two ways to proceed. One of them is to describe the problem and ask it to analyze the code and like give us some report about the problem. Like,
Okay.
hey, Bolt, can you figure out where in the code this is going wrong and show it to us?
Okay.
Or just jump right ahead to, hey, Bolt, here's the problem, go fix it? Do you have
So,
any intuition about which might be a better approach?
uh, so I have two minds on that. And one is that
Okay.
like if I were not a software developer, I'd be just in this position where I'm trying to make this thing fix a bug, right? I'd be like,
Right. So then
I'm
just
reporting the
describe the
bug to
bug
you,
and
just
fix
fix
it.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess I'm inclined to do it that way because I feel
Okay.
like this is actually, I want this to be helpful for people who are not coders and who might want to use something like Bolt as a tool.
Right. So then we can
I've
sort of
also
use our
very,
backup plan then. Backup plan could be, okay, Bolt, you didn't seem to fix the problem. Can you at least tell me where the problem is? And if it can't tell us where the problem is, then there's no way it's going to be able to fix it.
yeah, so that seems like a good
Okay.
idea. Okay.
Okay. Sounds great. All right. So, let's see. Okay. Bad news. Um, I have found a problem that looks like a defect in the user interface. I'd like to describe it to you, and I'd like you. Nope. See, look at me defaulting to politeness. We had this discussion last time. I will describe it to you, and I want you to fix it. Okay. Um, the history tab doesn't always show all the practice sessions in the application's memory. Now, again, I don't know if that's maybe an overly programmery way of saying it,
I think
but
that's too programming. So if I
okay.
were you, I would describe it as if I were someone reporting a
All right.
bug, like maybe
Okay.
QA reporting the bug to the software developer.
All
Say
right. So,
step one,
yeah.
step two, step three, and so on.
Okay. So I want to start with a summary of the problem, which is something more
Okay.
like when I end a practice, it doesn't always show up immediately in the history tab. Here is how let's see.
Here's how to
Okay.
reduce the issue, maybe.
Okay, yeah. But maybe that sounds too programmery. So um, let's see. Here's how it happens.
Okay.
All right. So from the practice tab, start a session, then record some throws. End the session. Uh, select the, let's see, tap the
Tap on the, yeah.
history
Yeah.
button to go to that tab. When I look at the top of the practice session history, I expect to see the session that I'd just ended, but it doesn't always show up. I haven't discovered a repeatable pattern yet. Um, please fix this problem. Defect.
Okay.
All right, let's see what we got. Hey, it didn't
It didn't
compliment me.
tell you
What the
you're
hell?
absolutely right. It fixed the bug already. Awesome.
The bug should now be completely resolved. Well, at least it's nice to know
It
that it
even
has a little bit of humility. That's not bad.
and it's even telling you use focus effect and so on. It's telling you what it did.
Yeah, so that's kind of nice. I mean, from a programmer reading this is going to be interested to see, and especially for me who doesn't know React and React Native, this helps me learn a little bit about the framework as I go along. I'm not going to read this now, but it could be very useful there. All right. Now, the only way we can be sure this actually works is to first try it in preview and see if by chance it happens to work,
Okay.
not to trust that that means anything, and then build the thing and run on the phone. So let's see what happens here. So first, we have two practice sessions.
Two practice sessions. Okay.
So let's see what we got. And now We have 3 practice sessions.
Yes,
All
and
right. Well, let's see if it works a second time. Oh, I can't scroll down to hit more buttons. One downside to the now we have 4
yes.
practice sessions. Okay. And last but not least, now we have 5 practice sessions. Okay. So I feel pretty confident that this might actually work now,
Okay.
which makes me wonder why it didn't work before. But nobody needs to watch me read this and understand what it means. So I'll do that offline. So I think the next step now is to install this on the phone, try that out, do some basic testing, see if it seems to work the way I'm expecting. And if so, then that would then be the time to sit and try to understand what actually happened, what it did, why it didn't work in the first place, and what the difference is.
Okay.
And that'll
So
help me learn a little bit of something about React.